Okay, everybody, so today we're going to be talking about the functions. But first of all, we need to get some concepts clear. Number one, relation. Everything is a relation, so there's really not difficulty in that one. Second, function. To know if what you got is a function, it has to pass the vertical line test. If you have the values of x, you can also check if they're repeated, and if they're not, it is also a function. Finally, it could also be a function if the exponent of y is odd. Number three, one-to-one function. To know if you got one of these, it must be a relation, a function, but also gotta pass the horizontal line test. Or you could also check if the values of y are repeated. As you can see, everything here is a one-to-one function. Okay, so the vertical line test is when you draw a vertical line and it only touches one spot. And the horizontal line test is basically the same. So you draw a horizontal line and it only has to touch one spot. Okay, so now that we have that clear, we're gonna learn how to classify some expressions. Number one, polynomials. They have no divisions with variables in the denominator, no negative or fractional exponents, and no even roots. The second one is rational. It's a division with variables in the denominator. And the third one, radical, even roots. That's all. And to get their domains, you got to identify the type of expression. And if they are polynomial, your domain is real numbers. If they're rational, you gotta make the denominator not equal to 0 and isolate x, and your domain is real numbers minus your result. And the third one, radical. You gotta make what's inside the root greater or equal to 0 and isolate x, and your domain could look like this. So if you know how to identify a relation, function, and one-to-one function, you can get their domains following the rules of the radical, rational, and polynomial classification. But if you want to get a range, you got to inverse your function. So to inverse it, first you gotta switch x and y, then isolate y, and you get the inverse. And finally, you classify the function and get the domain. But once you get a domain, there's no formula to get a range, so you gotta follow this little sketch. And first, you draw this, and then you only follow what it says, and you get the range. Finally, you can also get a domain and range if you have a graph like this one. So let's remember that range is from down to up and domain from left to right. So if we have a graph like this one, we gotta think, okay, my range is going to be -3 union 2 union 3 comma infinite. And we gotta really pay attention to the circles here that remind us if it's a closed or open, and if we gotta use parentheses or not. And the domain is going to be just the same, but from left to right, and it's going to be -infinite comma -1 union 1 union 2 comma infinite.